The Ghost Photographer. Tom Collins was an ordinary photographer struggling to make ends meet in New York City. He specialized in event photography, weddings, graduations, and the occasional magazine shoot, but his work never gained the recognition he craved. His small studio in Brooklyn was cluttered with photos that never sold and camera equipment that looked more like relics from a bygone era. The world had moved on to smartphones and influencers, and Tom was barely hanging on. But his life was about to take an unexpected turn. One afternoon, Tom was cleaning out his late grandfather's attic when he stumbled upon an old camera tucked away in a dusty box. The camera was unlike anything he had seen before. It was a vintage Leica, pristine and elegant, with a peculiar symbol etched into its side and within a circle, surrounded by strange markings. Intrigued, Tom decided to take it home, hoping that this antique might be worth something or at least add a quirky touch to his collection. Later that evening, he decided to test the camera. He loaded it with film, took a few random shots around his studio, and developed them in his darkroom. As the images slowly came to life, Tom's heart skipped a beat. There, in one of the photographs of his studio, was a shadowy figure, a translucent, blurred shape that seemed out of place. At first, Tom thought it was a flaw in the film, perhaps a double exposure or a trick of the light. But as he developed more photos, the eerie shapes became clearer, pale figures with hollow eyes, some staring right at the lens, others appearing to be lost in their own world. Tom was rattled but curious. He took the camera to an abandoned warehouse near the docks, a place known for its creepy atmosphere and rumored ghost sightings. As he snapped photos, he felt a chill in the air and the distinct sensation of being watched. When he developed the film that night, the images revealed dozens of spectral figures, men, women, and children, all from different eras, lingering in the warehouse like lost souls. Word about Tom's haunting photos quickly spread online. Skeptics accused him of clever photo manipulation, while others were convinced he had captured something supernatural. Overnight, Tom became a sensation. Paranormal enthusiasts, journalists, and curious onlookers flooded his studio, all wanting to see the ghost camera in action. Tom was booked for interviews, and his work was displayed in art galleries under the title Echoes of the Past. But the attention brought more than just fame. Tom started receiving anonymous letters, each one written in a different language, yet all carrying the same message: stop. He brushed them off as pranks until one night, after a gallery show, he found his studio door wide open. Inside, the walls were lined with photos he hadn't taken, images of his own apartment, his favorite coffee shop, and even the dark alley behind his studio. The photos weren't just eerie, they were impossibly detailed, capturing moments he didn't remember living through. Tom's life began to unravel. Every time he used the camera, the figures in his photos seemed to grow more solid, more aware of him. Some even started appearing in places where they hadn't been before, as if they were following him. He couldn't sleep without seeing shadows in the corners of his room, and every reflective surface seemed to hold a glimpse of a ghostly face watching him. Determined to uncover the truth, Tom took the camera to a renowned occult historian named Dr. Sylvia Mercer. Sylvia recognized the strange markings on the camera. It was an ancient symbol associated with the Veil of Souls, a forbidden artifact said to capture the essence of the dead. The camera, she explained, was a conduit between the world of the living and the afterlife, designed to reveal spirits trapped in limbo. But it came with a curse. Those who used it would eventually become a beacon for restless souls, drawing them closer until they could cross into the physical world. Terrified, Tom tried to get rid of the camera. He buried it, burned it, and even attempted to throw it into the ocean, but it always found its way back to him, appearing mysteriously on his doorstep or in his studio. The spirits grew bolder, more aggressive. One night, as Tom was developing a new set of photos, the room's temperature plummeted. His breath fogged the air, and suddenly, the room was filled with the faint whispers of the dead. A cold hand gripped his shoulder, and when he spun around, no one was there. Tom's health began to deteriorate. He stopped sleeping, haunted by nightmares of the spirits he had captured. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw them reaching out to him, pleading for help or revenge. Desperate, Tom returned to Dr. Mercer, who revealed that the only way to break the curse was to take one final photograph. The person who used the camera had to capture their own reflection. Doing so would seal the Veil of Souls and end the connection between the worlds, but it would also trap the user's soul inside the camera forever. Tom wrestled with the decision. He couldn't keep living like this, but he also couldn't bring himself to doom someone else by passing the camera on. In a moment of resolve, Tom set up the camera in his studio, aimed it at a mirror, and pressed the shutter. The flash was blinding, and for a moment, Tom felt an overwhelming sensation of weightlessness, as if he were being pulled into the lens. When Tom's assistant arrived the next morning, the studio was empty. The camera sat on a table, its lens pointing toward the mirror, and on the wall was the last photograph Tom had ever taken. It showed the studio, just as it was, but with one chilling addition: Tom's ghostly figure, forever staring out from the photograph, trapped within the Veil of Souls. Tom's disappearance became a mystery, and the camera was placed in a museum dedicated to the paranormal. But sometimes, late at night, the museum guards would swear they could hear the faint click of a shutter and see shadows moving in the corners of their eyes. The camera had a new story to tell, and it wasn't finished yet.